they're never gonna understand like what it is that you are called to do and what it is you're building. Not only are they not gonna understand, but they're gonna outright try to like humiliate you, make fun of you, and they can't even help it. Like their mindset is just so trash that they're just gonna offend you and disrespect you like all the time. It's really just been hitting me lately that like, no, my parents are actually like stupid. They're just not meant to go past a certain point. My parents have a superiority complex. They are Seventh-day Adventists. It's a denomination of Protestant Christianity which believes that because they worship on the seventh day, Saturday, and not Sunday, they just believe that they're more holy and more right. Growing up, they just always made me feel like people who drink, people who smoke, people who eat meat, people who worship on Sunday, just like anything that's different from them is looked down upon. Like it was always looked down upon. And they always had like very strict guiding principles that said we should get good grades, we should lock in on school and just like excel. Like, and so obviously, I don't know if you can tell my other videos, but I'm definitely a perfectionist. I'm definitely someone who really internalized that idea that I'm better than everyone else. This is really dumb. Like when you really start to dissect it, it's dumb as fuck because your belief system doesn't make you better than other people because beliefs are not fact. They're feelings, they're opinions. It's just your personal preference on how you want to live. So obviously to think that your belief system makes you better than someone else is really dumb. Religious people are just so trapped in like an archaic, primitive time mentally and in their identity. They still live most of their life by some book that was written thousands of years ago. And not just that, they don't actually know who wrote this book. And what's crazy to me is if someone were to present an academic paper to them proving that like the Bible was faked or like changed a million times, they wouldn't want to look at that evidence. They wouldn't want to go down that rabbit hole because it would challenge their beliefs. That's what made me realize my parents are really dumb, is like they don't actually want to have their beliefs change. They want to live in a delusion on purpose. And I think that just freaked me out because I was like, damn, I do believe in spiritual things. I believe in God. I do believe that these things have a hold on us or are at play in some capacity. I just don't think anyone really concretely knows. You were supposed to live in the 3D. At the end of the day, yes, it's good to remove yourself from it, to remember who you truly are. But at the end of the day, it's okay to live in the 3D and to like experience reality for what it is. And I'm the kind of person that's like, God is way smarter. Like if there is such a thing as a God, they're going to be way smarter, way stronger. They're not going to be able to be confined to the Bible or to one specific religious denomination. To even be so bold to say there's only one God, the creator of everything, is confined to that when we're not even one thing. And I didn't want to make this video all about religion. The other thing that really made me realize my parents are dumb is politics. My dad specifically will go down these political rabbit holes. It started a little bit before the pandemic, like the first Trump presidency, but he would really get caught up. I realized how susceptible he is to rage bait and like fear mongering. And he will literally go on spirals talking about how fucked up everything is in the world and how we're living in the last days, and all that really ties in with his religious belief system that we're living in this apocalyptic last days and Jesus is coming soon and whatever. I don't know about you, but like as a Gen Z person, as like a young adult growing up in the modern world, I do not have the luxury of thinking like that. I used to think like that and it got me so fucking depressed because I was just internalizing everything they were saying to me growing up, and my environment really fucked me up. And when bad things did happen, like the natural ebbs and flows of life did happen, I just like was paralyzed because when you live in a state like that, when you're always afraid or thinking that the world is going to end or getting sucked into political shit on 5G and like all these conspiracies and shit, you can't actually function as a normal human being. Like there's a significant cap to the amount of things you can do, your productivity level, your pleasantness to be around. You're not a good person and you're not a fun person and you're not an intelligent person if you allow yourself to really get sucked into shit like that. I don't know. Obviously, it's important to stay aware of what's happening in the world. Your For You page or your feed is for you. What you engage with is what you're gonna see more of. And if you're that type of person that's susceptible to rage bait and shit like that, you're gonna see more of that stuff. It just freaks me out, like realizing that no, my parents actually don't have the agency to like know when to shut that shit off. Know that shit's starting to affect their own reality, to look at their own life and reflect and say, you know what, I actually don't like where this is going and I'm gonna stop. Another thing that makes me think of this is just like how, so yesterday specifically, once again, like like, this is my fault. I always forget who I'm talking to and I just tell them things and I'm like, you know what? I need to keep this to myself. Told them that I invested into a business course, right? I'm literally telling them all this amazing stuff I learned about business and high ticket sales and marketing and how I plan to utilize this information in my business like immediately to get different results. And because I've been struggling with certain blocks, and I was just like sharing how excited I was about this progress that I'm making. They're like listening, kind of. I basically said, I'm really glad that I made this investment. And then they were like, how much was it? I told them how much it was. And then their first reaction was just like, you know, like, really? Like, why would you pay that much for blah, blah, blah? They were then just like shutting down on the whole idea. Well, you could have paid 500 or 1,000, but you paid that much? Fuck y'all. Like, actually, fuck you. Like, I'm sitting here telling you like how excited I am about these improvements that are going to be made in my life and in my business that, mind you, this is something I built from fucking scratch. I've never fucking asked them to help me with shit. Pretty much the only thing they've helped me with is housing. Like, that's been really helpful because it allowed me to, it allowed me to actually pursue what I'm passionate about and not have to work a 9-to-5 job that I hate. At the same time, I feel like I'm starting to realize that there's just a limit to how much I should share with them. I want to be able to just tell them whatever it is I'm feeling and have them be part of my life, but it just doesn't feel like they can handle that. They really set me up with this belief system that they were smart and aware and different from other people, that they were high quality people. You know, and as a child, you know, you look up to your parents. You want them to actually be those superheroes that you thought they were. They sort of give you your identity in a way because you're looking to them to figure out who you are. You want them to be right. You want them to be what they say they are or how they believe of themselves. You do get to a certain point when you're on this self-improvement and spiritual journey where you just look back at who they are and you realize like, no, like 90% of what I have to overcome in life has actually come from you guys and the lack of work that you did on yourselves. And the lack of awareness that you have even in the present moment to say, you know what, maybe I'm sabotaging myself. Maybe my mindset is the problem. Maybe how I'm showing up every day in my life is the problem. And they may never actually have that awareness. They may make a couple strides here and there, but at the end of the day, they're still just going to be what they are. They set me up with this mindset that dumb or like unintelligent people are people that just act without thinking. People who act without thinking or people who act on their emotions, who are like creative without having a plan. But when I think about it more and more, actually those people are fucking sick. More and more, I feel like a lot of the problems I have in my life, in my personal relationships, in my business, in my money blocks, etc., is because I didn't take enough risks. It's because I didn't just act without thinking sometimes. I didn't just follow my intuition. I didn't just listen to my heart. I didn't just create the shit that I'm actually good at creating. I started trying to beat around the bush and find these other ways when really I needed to just go back to what I already am good at and like what I already like doing and just fucking do that. I spent a lot of time fighting myself because I was trying to be something that they approved of as opposed to doing what I was actually called to do. And that's the message that I have for you guys. Is just like the people that you know, your family members, a lot of times those are your biggest haters. And I've probably made a video like this a few times, but those are people that really just like don't actually understand what you're doing and they're not trying to learn. Like that's the hardest part too, is that they don't want to learn. And you will literally get to the point where they're coming to you for advice and asking you about how to solve things. You will get to the point where you are actually the cycle breaker. Like you are the one that is propelling your family and your bloodline forward. They gave you all that they could give and they're just done. Like they're done working on themselves. They're done trying. My parents are not in a happy relationship. Like personally, I feel like they're unhappy together. I don't feel like they really even like each other as people. They're not really friends. They don't really talk. I mean, my mom just like is always in a bad mood, always fucking like moping around feeling sorry for herself. And then my dad is the kind that's like a people pleaser. He just does what needs to be done. But sometimes I'm just like, man, what do you actually want? Like, what about your passions? What about like what you're actually good at? What do you want? Like, you know, and sometimes it feels like I have to like think for them or like try to push them in a certain direction. But it's like, why am I fucking doing that? Like, that's a waste of time. It's like, maybe they're just dumb. Like maybe they genuinely don't have the self-awareness or like the ability to self-reflect. And like they have to have a superiority complex and this like need to judge everything and everyone and this need to be so fucking negative. They're just self-limiting people and that's just who they are and how they operate. It's a hard reality to accept that your parents are just dumb and that like you are now your parents. Like you have to be the leader in your life. There comes a point, especially if you're a recent graduate or you're still living in your hometown and you really just like, you're really struggling to find your own identity because of, your financial situation and, whatever. You need to change your perception of your parents and realize that they're not who you thought they were.